Is God responsible for evil and suffering? Well, some people with logic can say, well, if there's evil and suffering, and since God, you say that God is all powerful and he's in charge of everything, then obviously he has to be responsible for evil and suffering. Now, it just came to me as I was just saying that a lot of brilliant people stumble over this very fact. Einstein, the man was smart, and Einstein was not an atheist, as some might expect, and some people teach. Einstein was a deist, but he never embraced the God of the Bible because of this very thing. He could not accept a caring God, a loving God, and yet one who could tolerate and be responsible for evil and sin and suffering. So the person who says, is God responsible for evil and suffering? And of course the answer is no. God is not responsible for that. The psalmist said in Psalm 58 verse 3, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born. So we don't have to be taught to do evil and to be recipients of suffering. When people are evil, suffering naturally follows. And we're either the benefactors of our own evil and we get suffering from the cause of that, or we're benefactors of somebody else's evil and we're suffering because of that. But we don't do that. We're not suffering because of God. God utilizes, he can utilize those things. He tells us that there's going to be infirmity and there's going to be afflictions and those kind of things in the world, but he didn't institute those. The Psalm 10 verse 4 says that the wicked through pride of his countenance will not seek after God. God is not at all in his thoughts. This is the reason we get involved in evil and suffering, is because we choose evil more than we choose good. People choose darkness rather than light. And when that happens, then they pay the price for that. There's something called cause and effect. It's in nature. It's in the human spirit. It's true in the Word of God that certain things cause other things to happen. And those of us who are fortunate, we learn from our mistakes, but it's much more a blessing if we can learn without having to make the mistakes. One of the things I don't want my family to have to wait until I've learned everything through mistakes to have them benefit from the blessings I can bring into them. I want to be able to figure out things and be taught things and see truth in them and act on that truth, and then let God bless me and move me away from evil and into the things of God, so that can drift down into my family. And we'll raise up children and families that fear the Lord, and raise up children who are raised in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. So God set a process in effect. He gave people the ability to choose, and sorely enough, most people choose evil over good. They just like to hang around with the evil people. Some people get a charge out of hanging around with evil people, and there's a big draw to that. I agree, but we pay a price when that happens to us. No, God is not responsible for evil and suffering, but he can use those through his wooing to bring people back to him.